Good afternoon. So this is daily attendance for April 17th, okay? Everybody will be doing their for your other classes, your midterms Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Our midterms are already up, okay? So you don't have to worry about. We will be doing chapter 4 for this week. And we will be doing chapter 4, and that will be due Friday midnight, so you can get your midterms done and really practice them and and study for them, and then have my assignments due after the midterms, so that way they don't interfere with your studying. Remember that I always accommodate you for your other classes, because I know you need to study for them, and that's why I make my classes so easy. Okay, I will be doing tutoring tomorrow, okay, in the culinary building, just because I haven't been there and I think it's really pretty, so I'm gonna have to check it out. And then 12 through 1 o'clock, it's gonna be a little bit later because I have some students that will be finishing their classes and coming to me, and I will be changing the location because the library closes up at 1. All right, so that way I won't have to move over. I have had some students come in for tutoring, and it's been very productive. Some of the students that I'm working with are in preparation of their NHA and their CCMA. They're doing their externship. So remember that I am a retired high school principal, so I know exceptionally well and very well versed on data and test taking. Okay, so if you come to me and you bring your results, I'll tell you where to focus on, what you need to improve, where you really need to study, and how to organize yourself in order to do so. And we do a strategic plan in order for you to optimize the time that you need to study in order to be ready and prepare for your test. Okay, so highly encourage you to come and visit me. I can talk about all sorts of stuff if you're struggling in classes, just life in general, or whatever it is that you are having trouble with. Okay, we will create something for you. And of course, if you're having tutoring issues or difficulties with curriculum, let me know. I'm not very versed in medical terminology, but I could probably get somebody to help you out. And of course, English and and business communication is what I teach, so more than happy to help you out with that. Okay, chapter 4 will be due this week for me, and it'll be due midnight Friday. Okay, this is the announcement that everybody's been waiting for. If you have missed an assignment, I will be opening the assignment for a day. So chapter 1, chapter 2, and chapter 3 will be opened for a full day, so they will close on 12 on Monday midnight. Okay, this is the assignment. If you miss it, I will not allow for any late work. You will be deducted because you didn't turn it in on time. I know some of you have had struggles and have had legitimate excuses, but nonetheless, this is the opportunity to get that those assignments up if you have not done so. For those of you who are failing, I highly encourage you to really take advantage of this opportunity, and this opportunity of me opening the assignments that I regularly don't open. Okay, you will not be getting full credit for that. So before I begin with your assignments, so I talked about tutoring hours, and I talked about your assignment. If you are failing my class, I will be communicating with you and trying to, so please answer, and please make sure that you make arrangements to speak to me. You cannot come back in on week 5 in order to do so. I always, there's a particular thing that happened to me this week in terms, something really exciting. I had to go get some tests. I had to go get an MRI to get some, tests and whatever on my body that the doctor sent me to. And so when I was there, the place that gives the MRI, I saw an ex-student, and so she's in her externship. And so as I tell my students, and I was so proud to see her, I was just over the moon to see her there. The other thing is that it takes you longer to decide to come back to school and finish than it does to get done. So I highly encourage you. She said she's almost finished. And then, of course, she's going to go back and get her radiology certificate, her certification. So super, super excited about that. So can't wait to see you guys graduate and coming back to to other certifications. Eventually you're going to have multiple certifications, even though you don't think so. And then most definitely finishing up with a BA or a BS or whatever it is that you want to get in terms of a college degree. Okay, so highly highly encourage you. The other thing is that remember that the only limitations you have are the ones you set, okay? So there's nothing more incredible than that. Okay, I want to speak on, before I go into the, the homework, okay? Also, all grades should already be in. Hopefully, as I speak, I'm grading, so hopefully that'll be in. If there is an error or like an error on my end and there's something off with your grade, please reach out and I will mostly correct it instantly if that is the case. Okay, I do make mistakes. I am human. All right. Okay, so something happened to me that was very interesting this week. Okay, and I when I have physical class, I talk about this a lot. And there's a lecture that I do about understanding your position in order to optimize, what it is that you want to do and get, and what it is that you want to understand and achieve, right? And so the biggest, and whatever it is that I teach you is really about life. Okay. And so the biggest issue in life and the biggest challenges that you will have throughout your journey of life will be understanding what position you are and truly accepting where you're at, right? If you do not accept where you're at in the position that you currently are in because of you or because life or whatever, then it is hard to move forward and it is hard to navigate through it, okay? Although truly understand that every decision, in part, sometimes we don't have control over things that really happen to us, but for the most part, we have a lot of control over our life, and it's just a matter of really taking control and initiative, right, with your life and being able to change it. Like you're in school because you decided one day that you needed to have school for whatever reason, because you wanted to move forward, because you wanted to be financially secure, because you wanted to have a degree, because you wanted to, create a solid foundation for yourself and your family, and that maybe school was a way to do it. Okay, so there's huge choices that we make, and every single choice has a consequence and has a result. Okay, and so it's very important to understand what situation you're in and why it is that you're in that situation. It's probably because of you, all right? And if you don't like that situation, to be able to move forward and change your life entirely, okay? And be living, with just one decision, you can change your whole life. And you can change your whole life at any minute of any day, of any month, of any week, of any year that you want, always, okay? It is just a matter of saying, this is what I'm going to do, and this is how I'm going to go about it. All right. So, so kudos to you all that you're here. Okay. Having said that, I am your teacher. Okay. And so, school is not a democracy. Okay. Shocker, right? It is a dictatorship, and that, that's what we have, right? For good or bad, right? And so it's a dictatorship. You're told what prerequisites you need. You're told what kind of credits you get. You're told what it is that you need to take in order to achieve your degree, right? There's nothing wrong with that. There's structures that need to happen because, it sort of keeps things in balance and fair, and there needs to be some sort of progression and some sort of program or strategy or, situation where what it is that you have to do in order to achieve things. So it is what it is. School is a dictatorship, and you have people dictating what it is that you need to achieve in order to, secure your certificate or your degree. And all schools are like this, okay? All of the schools are like this. This is what it is. You have a teacher that tells you what you need to do, what you don't need to do. We have certain curriculum and standards and requirements that we have to meet in order to fulfill and make sure that our class is legitimate in order for you to be able to get your degree at the end. And there's certain criteria that needs to be there, okay? Sort of like with online, I have to check. I have to verify that you guys assisted. That's why you have your daily attendance. I had to build, because it used to not exist. So I had to build this like system so I could prove that you all had daily attendance, where I could sort of reach you individually, through some sort of media or medium, in order to prove that you all assisted and that you were present, and then that will count as daily attendance. So lots of stuff that we have to do, okay? So I am pretty open and pretty, chill, right? And pretty flexible. Why? Because because I know what it's like. I have a master's, right? I've had hardships in my life. I've had divorces, I've had difficulties. I have a whole family, just like you, we're all regular people, okay? Everybody, all my students and myself. There's other people that life is harder than, for some, and some, maybe don't have all that. Everybody has their difficulties, and everybody has their harshness in their life, right? And that is what determines them, and that is what defines who they are, and the life that they've lived, and why they make the choices that they make, okay? So even though I'm very chill, and even though I'm very flexible, you need to understand what position you're in. If you are showing up and asking me for a favor can be you're late, you didn't turn in your work, right? It's completely closed, and you're asking me for a favor. The more attitude that you have, the less that I'm going to give you the opportunity, okay? Because the teachers are not required to allow for extensions, to allow for missed assignments. Whatever it is that they want to do, they can do. If you missed it, you missed it. There might be teachers that might not accept late work. There's teachers that might not go by the rules, right? Even if you had this extraordinary thing happen to you, if you missed it, there's some teachers that you just missed it. And so that's what it is. That's why it's so important to get everything in on time, okay? But having said that, we're pretty flexible, okay? So if something happened to you, there's major issues that you're going through, you had a death, you're having a baby, right? You're having health issues, you're just not there mentally, we're pretty flexible, okay? But if you have an attitude, and this goes for life, well, we might not be so flexible, okay? If you're giving us attitude, or you're treating us poorly, or you're dictating, or you're mandating for us to do something, well, that's not going to go well. But that's not going to go well just not with your teachers. That's not going to go well in your career setting, in your profession, in your job, because nobody needs to put up with any type of abuse, okay? And I remember I told my director one day, I said, because somebody was extremely rude a long time ago, and I'm like, I'm not going to put up with that. I'm not here to put up for the abuse. But anyway, and neither should you all, right? But anyway, so getting off topic there. So the thing is to really understand the position that you're in, okay? So if you're in a deficit, if you're asking for something because you missed something, right, and you just didn't turn it in for whatever reason, even if you have a good excuse, you really probably need to go at it with like a very polite attitude, and also like very genuine one, and very proper and formal, okay? It would be my recommendation, okay? If somebody like hits me up and says, hey miss, whatever, we open up the link and so I can turn it in, it doesn't work that way. First you need to ask for permission. I'm gonna be asking some questions, you need to answer them, and then we'll see from there. And then I'll have to check your grade. If you've never showed up and you're asking me to turn everything in week 6, I probably will not answer, okay? Because at that point I've already really contacted you for a million times, this and that, and you chose not to show up. So lots of situations, as with this life, with depending on who it is, who it isn't, and all sorts of stuff, okay? And what's happened. So anyway, long story short, I'm also an English teacher, okay? So that says a lot, all right? So I understand that with texting, there is some sort of informality, and that did not exist before. And it was really like we started creating our own abbreviations in texting that are not proper abbreviations and that don't exist. Right, like text, text is TXT. That is not a proper abbreviation, okay? So there's a lot of abbreviations that we created, and very interestingly enough, we created it because the first phones were flip phones, and the flip phones had little numbers, and each number corresponded to 3 letters. So you had to go through the number and then go to the next letter, goes through the next number, and then pick the letter, and then that's the way you text it. So because it was so long and so cumbersome, people started abbreviating specific words like about, ABT, right? And so you sort of, saved a couple of letters, okay? And that's where the abbreviations came in. So that is a type of informal writing that is not proper, okay, and is not formal and is really not correct, but is completely acceptable within your texting abilities. The problem with this is that texting abilities, those informal abbreviations or texting, systems, right, that we created, when you transfer it over to an email, looks improper and is improper. Okay, so there's some proper things and there's some proper things that are acceptable, like in a text. If you write me and you say about and you sort of just put ABT, right, or do a text and do TXT, I'll be okay with it, right? Let me take a water here. I'm usually pretty open. I hate autocorrect. The phone, usually does a lot of autocorrect for me. So I make no sense, and I'm usually really, really busy. And so I'm always trying to, get that correct. Okay. So sometimes I'm abrupt and sometimes I'm short and sometimes I misspell things. Okay. So I usually will correct them and then, put the asterisk to state that it was corrected. When you are texting me, all right, through Teams, which is where I like to be communicated through, all right? If you are completely off in your verbiage or your sentence structure or your tenses, I will make it known, okay? Because I am your teacher. I'm not your friend. I am your teacher, okay? So that's who I am, all right? So in the end, and the reason that you're communicating with me is because there is a class and we are in class, okay? And we have class together. And I'm the teacher and you all are the students. So if you write me something that is completely out of line and your verbiage is completely off, and I thought about it, okay? I can't in good faith or ethically or morally let it go. I can't, because I'm not correcting you, okay? And it is incorrect. And you're probably talking that way too, all right? So you're probably speaking that way, which is a proper term, all right? And everybody makes mistakes. But when your verbiages are wrong, then that probably means that that's the way you're speaking. And if I don't tell you that it's incorrect, then, because of the informality that currently exists now, people are okay with it, but it's not okay because it's going to get you in trouble in a professional setting. Not only that, but the way that you speak, your inability to conjugate appropriately and speak appropriately or write appropriately will say a lot about you. It will say a lot about your social economic status. It will say a lot about the level of academia that you have. It will say a lot about what culturally where you come from, okay? And remember that we're in school, and so we are taught to do the appropriate thing, right? And to be able to be taught, okay? So when I correct you, you can't get mad. I'm your teacher, all right? And you can't go hood on me, all right? And you can't say, I'm not going to be accepting that. This is absolutely unacceptable that you're telling me this and that I'm not a teenager and all that. So something like that happened this week, which was very weird, all right? If you are telling me that you done your midterm, I done my midterm, miss. That is incorrect. You either have to say, I've done my midterm, I'm done with my midterm, and those are the two options that are there. I done my midterm is completely an incorrect sentence, and I will tell you, all right? If you go hood on me, and if you tell me that you're not going to take the corrections, and that you're not accepting that, and that you're not a teacher, you're not a teenager, and that you're not this and you're not that, you whoa, okay? I am your teacher, and it is proper for me to correct you, especially when it is such a faux pas, and that's French for very negative, all right, that it was wrong. All right, so you need to understand our positions, right? You guys are the students and I'm the teacher, and that's why I have all these degrees, okay? And that doesn't mean that I'm perfect. That just means that if it's incorrect, it is proper for me to correct you, and you can't take it personal. You really should be grateful, okay? I will not accept for you to be telling me stuff that is improper, because I'm not here for that. And if you want to speak improperly or write improperly, well, that's your choice, right? But at least I already told you that it's improper. And if you're telling me I done my midterm, I done my midterm, okay? Instead of saying, I've done my midterm, I've finished my midterm, I'm done with my midterm, then that's different, okay? So don't know your position. I was very disturbed by the position that I was put in and the aggressiveness, okay? I am here to teach you and I'm here to help you. And if you are not open to that, then maybe you're not ready for school. All right? And it's just going to be really honest, all right? And especially if you're asking for something, if you're asking and you're trying to get something in late and I'm telling you and then you go hood on me, that's not good, okay? So be mindful. And of course, that's not the majority, but I was so disturbed by it that I had to do this video that really is about 10 minutes longer than it should have been, all right? And if you get upset after I do this, then really, you guys need to check in, because I have to tell you if it's incorrect. That's what they pay me for. And I would think that you would be grateful that I would tell you that your conjugations are incorrect and your verbiage tenses are incorrect. Because if I don't do it, somebody else is going to do it for you, and you're going to be very embarrassed at the time. And you shouldn't be talking like that. Because if you're talking the way, if you're speaking and you're writing the way that you're talking with your buddies, that sometimes doesn't go, okay? And be grateful. Really is what it is, okay? So understand your position at all times, because if it doesn't, it can be detrimental to you. All right, going on. So we're going to go to business communication, all right? And we're going to do chapter 4. So you're going to read all of chapter 4 and you're going to do objectives. Remember that this is learning objective checkup. Okay, so you need to read the chapter. I'm still getting people that tell me, where is it, Miss? I can't find it. That means I don't know who you've copied from the other chapters. Okay, so don't do that. So you're going to do objectives 4.1 through 4.5, questions 1 through 19. You're going to copy and paste it onto a Word document after you've read the whole chapter. All right, and you're going to go into, I think it's learning objectives, and you're going to be doing chapters 1 through 19, not chapters, questions 1 through 19, and you're going to copy and paste the objective first, and then you're going to copy and paste the question, and then you're going to copy and paste the answer. Or you copy and paste all the answers. You either bold it and highlight it, or you make a notation of which one is the answer you highlighted, or you just put the answer, but you copy and paste all of it and you put it in there, okay? All the question, all the answer, all the answers, and one of them is highlighted, and of course your objective, okay? So remember that is due on Friday midnight, okay? So that is BC. Going on to English 133, A500 and A502, A501, A500 and A501. Sorry, can't obviously multitask. You will be doing, make sure you read the chapters, okay, the chapter 4, and you will be only doing test 1, okay? So copy and paste it onto a Word document, put the title, put who you are, put what class it is, and put my name on it. And you're going to be doing do test in chapter 4. You're going to be doing test 1. They're usually at the end of the chapter. So when you ask me that you can't find it, that means that you have not read it, okay? So English 133, A500 and A501, chapter 4, you're going to do test 1, all right? And then we're going on to English 145, A500, all right, and you're going to do practice. Remember that everything is there. So, and some of them are practices and some of them are exercises. If you can't find the exercises, that means you haven't read the chapter, and that means you haven't gone through it. So you're going to read all the chapter 4, and you're going to do practice 1 and 2, and you're going to do exercises 1, 2, and 3. All right, copy and paste it onto a Word document. Put your title on the Word document so you can upload it, which means what the name of the assignment is, what your name is, what class it is, and of course, your teacher, which is me. Okay, so hope this helped. Love and light. Ciao.